If you've been hitting a brick wall chasing a refund for a flight that you booked via a third-party booking site as opposed to from the airline direct, you're not alone. Mary in Wellingborough told me, I booked a flight via a booking site and was told by the airline that I had to claim my refund for the cancelled flight from the booking site. The site rejected my request and told me I had to claim from the airline. Jacob in Cardiff told me, I booked a flight via a booking site. When the flight was cancelled due to COVID, I asked for my money back. I was told by the booking site that I could have a voucher to use as their terms and conditions provided that cash refunds were discretionary. Francesca from Ealing told me, I was told by a booking site that I would get my refund for a cancelled flight when the airline had refunded them. The airline says it has already refunded the booking site. I have been on this merry-go-round for the past 7 months. These are all very familiar stories, with consumers being passed from pillar to post. Airline says not my problem, and the booking site does exactly the same thing. So what's the law? The law is actually very clear in this area and on this particular issue. The problem is many advice websites out there are telling consumers the wrong advice. Many of them say, well, the person you sue, the person you go and complain to, the website that you should be going to is not necessarily the airline, it's whoever you have a contract with. And they're saying if you booked via a third-party booking site, such as Opodo or someone like that, not picking on them in particular, that's where you complain because that's where your contract is. That advice is wrong. It's wrong for a number of reasons. Reason number one, most of these websites act as what we call agent, not principal. What that means is that it's actually the likes of Opodo who you are booking through, but they're not the entity that you are contracting with. With them and many others, you're actually contracting with the airline. Have a look at their terms and conditions as an example. Here you'll see they clearly say that your contract is going to be between you and the airline and specifically not Opodo. Now they're not unique. You will find most of the terms and conditions of most of these sites, especially where they're an agent, not principal, as I say, will say exactly the same thing. So the advice you've been reading online from so-called consumer experts, now you can see why that advice is wrong. You shouldn't be going to the booking site, you should be going to the airline. Let's stop there. Let's forget all of the argument about who your contract's with, because it's going to be trumped by a law called 261. Now, if your flight is in Europe, doesn't touch the UK, that law is called EU 261. If it's in the UK, we call it UK 261. Quite a simple concept. We basically adopted the EU's law after Brexit in terms of flight delay and cancellation claims. That law, whether it's EU or UK 261, is very straightforward, very simple on this subject. If a flight is cancelled, the airline has a legal obligation under these regulations to refund you. That refund must be in cash unless you accept a voucher. And finally, it doesn't matter if your contract's with the airline or with a third-party site. So regardless of the agent principles thing I've told you, even if your contract is with the third-party site, it still doesn't matter. The airline still has an obligation to refund your money. That's why those websites that tell you otherwise are wrong. So what does this now mean to you? Well, here's my advice. First of all, if you have booked via a third-party website, my advice is still to go and ask them for the money. So am I now contradicting myself? Am I telling you to do something that I've just told you not to do? No. The reason I'm saying this is the airline may well have already refunded that booking site. If that's the case, that's going to be your quickest route. Now, if they haven't already refunded the booking site's going to tell you. They'll say, we've not had the money back, we're not refunding you yet. That's when you go direct to the airline and say, under UK 261 or EU or EC 261, if the flight is in the EU and didn't touch UK soil, you are legally obligated to pay my money back, and I now want it back, please. They ought to listen to that and process your refund. If they don't, the next step to take is either to consider, did I pay by credit card? If you listen to me on LBC every Friday, you'll know this is something I say nearly every Friday night. Pay by credit card. If the purchase price is more than £100 and 1 penny, you have a claim under what's called Section 75. Here, the airline failing to repay you or give you your refund amounts to what we call a breach of contract, and that means a Section 75 claim would be successful. Now, if you didn't pay by credit card, your next best step is to see, is the airline I'm complaining about part of an approved ADR scheme? That's Alternative Dispute Resolution. When I say approved, I mean approved by the Civil Aviation Authority, the regulator for aviation in this country. There are two schemes approved, Aviation ADR and CEDAR. Between the two of these schemes, most of the airlines are members, so they capture most of the airlines that fly in and out of the UK.